The war between humans and the Velixari Empire had finally ended. For almost 20 years, the two great powers fought across hundreds of planets and stars. Ships burned in orbit, cities were turned into dust, and millions died. Believed they were fighting to protect their own kind. But in the end, nothing was left except pain and silence. Now, peace had come, but not without scars. On the Velixari homeworld, crystal towers rose high into the sky. The new Queen Soralia stood tall on a silver platform before her people. Her voice echoed across the capital. "Let us honor my sister, Princess Nerea," she said. "She died with honor during the Battle of Blackwind Ridge. Her sacrifice helped end this war." The crowd of Velixar bowed their heads. They were a proud and elegant race, with smooth skin like polished stone and eyes that glowed softly in shades of gold and silver. But the queen's voice held a small tremble. Deep in her heart, she still wondered what really happened to Nerea. Last time anyone saw the princess, she was aboard her personal cruiser, the Silent Flame, leading a Velixari fleet into battle against human warships above the broken moon of Darethix. The fight had been brutal. Both fleets were torn apart. Nerea's ship was destroyed. The war ended soon after. No body was found, only fire, debris, and silence. Since then, the queen had led the empire toward peace. She had opened talks with the Terran coalition, welcomed trade, and allowed human ambassadors to walk Velixari ground for the first time in history. It was not easy. Many of her own people still hated the humans. Still, she held on to hope. Maybe, just maybe, Nerea had survived. But after 5 years, even hope begins to fade. The neutral moon station Espere was a quiet place. Cold, rocky, and far from the centers of power. But this moon had become the site for a major peace summit. Human generals, alien leaders, scholars, and diplomats gathered inside the Great Hall. Flags of both the Terran coalition and the Velixari Empire hung side by side. Everyone expected peace to grow stronger today. Inside the control room, a young human technician saw something strange on his screen. A small ship was approaching the station. No ID, no registry, just a steady signal. "Unmarked vessel approaching," he said. "No weapons, no shields." "Block them," said Commander Ruiz. "We can't risk unknown ships." But then, the ship sent a short, simple signal. Just one line of data, a code Velixari Royal class. One that had not been used in 5 years. Ruiz blinked. "Run that again?" "It's real, sir," the technician replied. "That's the old royal signal. Princess Nerea's ship class." But that ship was destroyed. The ship docked. Security surrounded the landing bay. Human and Velixari guards stood side by side, weapons ready, unsure what to expect. Then the hatch opened. A tall figure stepped out. Her silver cloak was torn at the edges, and her dark purple skin was marked with faint scars.
Oh.
Her golden eyes shone with quiet strength. It was her. Princess Nerea. Gasps echoed through the room. Some dropped to their knees. Others froze in disbelief. But that was not the only shock at her side. Holding her hand was a human man in worn military armor. His arm was wrapped gently around hers, like he was ready to protect her from the world. He had a rough beard, short hair, and eyes that had clearly seen war. Name was LT. Daniel Krause's soldier declared missing 5 years ago during the same battle. Nerea looked at the guards, then stepped forward. Her voice was calm but firm. "I am Nerea of the Velixari," she said. "Hello. I have returned not as a warrior, but as a bridge between our peoples." She looked at Daniel, gave her a small, quiet nod. "And this is the one who saved me when no one else could." Back on the Velixari homeworld, the return of Princess Nerea shook the empire. People cheered. Some cried.
Ow.
Others whispered in confusion and anger. Many could not understand why she would appear now. And with a human soldier at her side, Queen Soralia rushed to meet her sister. The moment they saw each other, the two hugged tightly. No words were needed, just tears. "I thought you were dead," the queen whispered. "I thought I was too," Nerea said softly. Daniel stood nearby, unsure of what to do. This was not his world. He didn't belong in royal halls. But Nerea took his hand again, never letting go. He saved me. Sister, she said, when my ship fell and I crashed on that moon, no one came. No one even knew I was alive. He did. He found me. Ah! Soralia looked at the human. At first there was doubt in her eyes. But then she saw the way Nerea held him. And she saw something. Deeper she saw love. Voices rise. Not everyone was pleased. High Lord Revik, powerful Velexari council member, stood in protest at the Grand Hall. "This is dangerous," he shouted. "She returns after 5 years escorted by a human. This is not beside a shame. How do we know she is even who she claims to be?" Many agreed with him. There were whispers of betrayal, of weakness. Some even said Nerea had been captured, or were sterned. But Queen Soralia raised her voice. "Enough," she declared. "This is my sister. I see it in her face, in her memories, in her heart. She is Velexari. She is our blood. Not alone, because one human chose to protect her when the stars turned against them both." She looked at Daniel. "You will honor him, or you will dishonor yourselves." Daniel's first words when Daniel finally spoke before the Velexari. His voice was steady. "I didn't save her because she was a princess," he said. "I didn't even know who she was at first. All I saw was someone injured, alone, and trying to survive just like me." He paused. "We were enemies, but we became something else. We helped each other. We built shelter. We found food. Shared stories. And after a while, we didn't see species anymore. It's just two souls trying to live." Some Velexar listened. With open minds, others turned away. But the seeds had been planted. The spark of change for the first time. A Velexari princess and a human soldier stood as one. They were not just survivors. They were a symbol of what the war tried to destroy, failed to kill. Hope. As the sun rose on the Velexari capital, new light filled the sky. Two figures stood on the balcony of the palace. Looking out across the city, her hand in his. They didn't speak. They didn't need to. They had come back from the edge of death, from the ashes of war. And now, the real story was just beginning. The moon of Dareth Ix was cold, broken, and lifeless. No sun shined on it. No water flowed on its surface. Only rocks, black soil, and silence. The war had burned this place. Long ago, it had been a fuel-rich mining moon. But after the battle of Black Wind Ridge, it became a graveyard. And it was here that two enemies, Princess Nerea of the Velexari and Lieutenant Daniel Cross of Earth, were left behind. Crash and Survival 5. Years ago, during the final stage of the war, both Nerea and Daniel had crashed on this moon. Nerea's ship, the Silent Flame, had been struck by a human missile. The impact knocked her unconscious, and the escape pod sent her into the rocky valleys. Wounded and alone, she had barely survived. On the other side of the moon, Daniel's team had been part of a last mission to destroy alien supply lines. His dropship was hit by plasma fire. Only he survived the crash. Both thought they were alone at first. They stayed far apart, hiding, listening, watching the skies. Each thought the other was still part of the enemy army. They waited for rescue. Days passed, then weeks, then months. No one came. The first meeting they met by accident. Daniel had built a small shelter near a crashed Velexari drone to harvest energy cells. Nerea, weak and out of food, had come to scavenge the same wreck. She crept toward it with a plasma knife. Daniel was already inside. The moment he turned and saw her, both froze. His rifle was raised, her blade pointed, but neither attacked. They stared at each other for a long time, not speaking, just breathing. The silence between them was loud. Finally, Nerea said something in Velexari. Daniel didn't understand, so he lowered his gun slowly and spoke in English. "I'm not here to fight," he said. "If I wanted to, you'd be dead already." Nerea narrowed her eyes, studying him. Then she did something Daniel never expected. She dropped her blade, learning to trust they didn't become friends overnight at first. They kept their distance. They traded supplies. Nerea had a broken medkit. That still worked. Daniel had food packs and clean water.
Oh,
They used hand signals, body language, and small drawings in the dirt. Soon, Daniel started picking up a few Velexari words. Nerea began learning English. They built a fire together for warmth. They made rules. No weapons inside the camp, share food equally, help each other if sick. Then came a night when a storm hit the moon. Winds tore through the valley. Their shelters nearly collapsed. Daniel rushed to Nerea's cave to check on her. She was curled up, shivering from cold. Fire had gone out. Without speaking, Daniel wrapped his thermal blanket around her and lay beside her, back to back. He said nothing, just stayed. And that night, for the first time, Nerea slept without fear. Stories by the fire, the weeks that followed. They spoke more. Daniel told her about Earth, about the oceans, the forests, the rain, about pizza and music, and his younger brother who liked drawing spaceships. Nerea told him about her world of flying crystal cities, living rivers, and her childhood in the royal sky garden. They laughed sometimes. They argued too. One evening, Nerea looked at the stars and said, "The war was foolish." Daniel nodded. "I lost good friends. I still don't know why we fought. 'Cause leaders hate easily," she said, "and soldiers bleed for it."
Daniel.
Looked at her. "You were a leader." She looked down. I still bled. A bond formed one day. Daniel got sick from a toxic plant he had eaten by mistake. Fever burned his skin. He couldn't move. Nerea took care of him. She crushed herbs, cooled his skin with snow, and stayed awake for 2 nights watching over him. When he opened his eyes, weak but alive, she smiled. "You saved me," he whispered. "No," she replied. Softly, "We save each other." After that, something changed. They no longer saw each other as human or Velexari. Just as two people who had survived something terrible, together, they stopped counting the days. The rescue 5 months after the crash. A long-range human survey drone passed near the moon. It picked up Daniel's signal, a Terran coalition ship. Arrived days later, Daniel told the rescuers that there was another survivor at Velexari. At first, the humans were confused, then suspicious. But Daniel refused to leave without her. "She's not a prisoner," he said. "She's not an enemy. She's my partner. We survived together." They allowed Nerea aboard under strict orders, once they saw who she really was. Princess Nerea, the news spread like wildfire. But instead of treating her like a guest, some officers looked at her like a threat. It was Daniel who stayed by her side the entire time. "I won't let them hurt you," he said. Nerea placed her hand on his chest. "I know." Returned to the stars after months of medical recovery, briefings, and endless questions. The two finally stood before the Peace Council on Station Aspera. The world was watching. Some expected anger. Instead, they saw something no one expected: Nerea and Daniel holding hands. When asked what they wanted, Nerea said simply, "We want peace. Not just between our governments, but between our people." Back on her world, the Velexari homeworld accepted Nerea's return with mixed feelings. Some welcomed her as a hero. Others whispered that she had been tainted. She stood before the council and told her story honestly. "I do not return as a warrior," she said. "I return as someone who has seen the truth. I saw it through a human's eyes, and it made me see myself differently." She told them about Dareth Ix, about hunger, storms, sickness, and survival. For the first time in Velexari history, a human soldier spoke inside the royal dome. "I hated your people once," he said. "I thought you were monsters, but one of you saved me. I will never forget that." The hall was silent. A difficult road ahead. Peace is not easy. Nerea and Daniel knew this. Some Velexari nobles began to speak against her. "She's blinded by love," they said. "She's no longer one of us." On Earth, some media called Daniel a traitor. He should have finished the mission, they said. He protected an alien princess instead. But others on both sides were inspired. Youths began painting murals of the two together. Musicians sang songs. Poets wrote about the moon where love defeated war. A message began to grow. If they can forgive, so can we. The promise one night, standing on a balcony under the twin moons of her world, Nerea looked at Daniel. "Do you regret saving me?" she asked. He shook his head. "That was the moment I became human again." She smiled, "and I became Velexari again." He held out his hand. "So what happens now?" She took it, her golden eyes glowing softly. "We walk together," she said. "Even if the path is hard? Peace is easy to promise, but hard to protect." When Princess Nerea returned with Lieutenant Daniel Cross, she brought more than just hope. She also brought fear. Fear in the hearts of those who still hated humans. Fear in those who believed the Velexari race should never mix with Earth's kind. In both empires, old enemies began to speak again. Whispers in halls, anger on the streets. The war had ended, but hate had not. Whispers in the empire and the high halls of the Velexari Council. Not everyone was pleased with Nerea's return. High Lord Revik, a cold and powerful elder, stood before the council members. "She has changed," he said. "She lived with the humans. She walked among them. How can we trust her loyalty now? She's a princess," Queen Sorelia replied. "She is my sister. She returned to us." Revik narrowed his glowing silver eyes. "Then let her prove it. Let her stay away from the human." A few nodded. Others stayed silent. Revik spoke again. "I fear she brings war in the name of peace." Trouble on Earth, Daniel faced pressure too. Back on Earth, military officers questioned him for days. News channels showed pictures of him beside the alien princess. Some called him brave, some called him weak. He fell in love with an alien. One politician shouted on a live broadcast, "What kind of soldier is that?" Daniel ignored them. He didn't care about the words. He cared about Nerea. But he saw how people looked at him now, like he didn't belong anymore. Even his old friends avoided him. Only one person called him directly, his younger brother Max. "I'm proud of you, Danny," Max said. "You followed your heart. That takes guts." Daniel smiled for the first time in days. The ceremony, a large peace ceremony, was planned on Station Esper. It would be the first time humans and Velexari leaders signed a treaty together. Soldiers, diplomats, and civilians were invited from both sides. Nerea and Daniel were named as Guardians of the Accord, a title that symbolized unity. But not everyone wanted peace to succeed. Deep in the shadows of the station, two figures, one Velexari and one human, met in a dark maintenance room. "Is the device ready?" asked the Velexari man. The human nodded. "It'll go off during the handshake. Both leaders dead in 1 second." The Velexari smiled darkly. "Then the war begins again."
"Oh, no more lies about friendship."
They shook hands and left without a word. Assassination attempt. The Grand Hall of Station Aspera was filled with light and music. Velexari crystals floated in the air, glowing gently. Human children handed flowers to alien guests. Cameras recorded every moment. Nerea stood in her royal robes. Daniel stood in his clean, decorated uniform. Peace was within reach. But then a loud beep. Then a buzz, and the scream of an alarm. Guards shouted. People ran. A bomb hidden under the main stage began to blink red. Daniel didn't hesitate. He grabbed Nerea and pushed her behind a pillar. At the same time, he ripped open a service panel and pulled the wires with steady hands. The timer stopped at 0:03. Gasps echoed in the hall. Daniel stood up slowly, holding the half-dead bomb in his hands. Everyone stared at him. Then someone clapped. Others joined. The hall exploded in cheers, but Nerea saw the shadow in his eyes. "They tried to kill us," he said softly. "Yes," she replied, "and they will try again." The princess speaks the next day. Nerea stood before the joint council. Her voice, it was calm but full of fire. "Someone wants the war to return," she said. "Someone wants our people to stay divided forever." She looked at every face in the chamber, Velexari and human alike. "But I will not let hate decide our future. I saw what the war did. I saw the bodies. I lived the fear. And I also saw a man from Earth risk his life to save mine, not once, but many times." She turned to Daniel. He taught me something no battle ever did. That peace is not weakness. It is courage. Daniel stepped forward too. I didn't save her because she's a princess, he said. I saved her because she's a good person. That's it. It's all that should matter. Silence followed. Then, slowly, members of the council began to stand. One by one, not everyone stood but enough. The Peace Force 1 week later, Queen Sorelia and Earth's president agreed to form the Interstellar Peace Force, a group of both human and Velexari soldiers, trained to keep the galaxy safe. And at the top of that list were the first two members, Princess Nearea and Lieutenant Daniel. Cross their job, lead joint missions, train new recruits. They'll be living symbols of unity. Some people cheered, others protested, but the Peace Force was born. New enemies in the dark far beyond both empires. In the cold emptiness of space, a new voice spoke. Inside a hidden station shaped like a black sphere, strange creatures sat around a circular table. They were the Zerna, secretive species that lived in the void between stars. One of them hissed. Too much peace, it said. We spent decades fueling that war. Now they hold hands. Another Zern creature clicked its claws. We must act. Before they discovered the truth, a third creature tapped on a glowing panel. The moon. The humans and the princess survived on Dareth Ix. The data logs are still there. The others turned toward it. Then go, they said. Burn the truth before it burns us. Daniel's discovery in the new Peace Force Command Center. Daniel was reviewing old files. He'd been given access to Velexari war records, something no human ever had before. He looked for old maps of Dareth Ix. Then he saw something strange. A buried facility. No markings. No record in any Velexari archive. Hey, Nerea, he called. You said your ship crashed near a canyon, right? Yes, she replied. Then what's this? He pointed to the map. There's a structure under that area. Hidden Velexari tech, but also something else. Nerea leaned closer. I've never seen this. Daniel frowned. I think we survived on top of a secret. Mission begins. They prepared a small team to humans. 2 Velexorion flew to Dareth Ix. The moon looked the same, broken, cold, quiet. But now, they weren't survivors. They were explorers. Nerea found her old cave, still half buried under rubble. Her drawing on the wall, 2 figures holding hands, was still there. Daniel found the energy drone they once fought over. It was still sparking softly. Then they reached the canyon, and they found the door. Buried under ice and stone was a black metal hatch. Velexari runes, mixed with strange, unknown markings. Daniel touched the panel. It blinked, and the door opened. The black door under the canyon opened with a soft hiss. Dust and cold air spilled out. Faded lights flickered inside. The smell was strange metal, oil, and something older, something forgotten. Daniel stepped in first, holding his rifle. Followed close behind, her golden eyes glowing softly in the dark. The others, 2 human soldiers and 2 Velexari guards, waited outside, scanning the area. What is this place? Daniel whispered. I don't know. Nerea said. This is not Velexari design, at least. Not fully. The walls had Velexari shapes, but mixed with harsh, sharp lines. A language they didn't recognize was carved into steel plates. They moved deeper. The secret facility inside, they found rooms filled with strange machines. Many were broken. Some were still humming softly. Screens blinked. One showed a star map. Another showed a list of strange experiments. They found a room marked with both Velexari and unknown symbols. It had stasis tubes, some shattered, some still sealed. Inside one of the tubes was something terrifying, a creature with dark gray skin, long arms, and glowing blue eyes. Its body was thin like a shadow, but its claws were sharp as knives. Floated in liquid, Nerea stepped back. That's not Velexari, Daniel nodded. That's Zern. They had found the truth. The Zern had been here, working with stolen Velexari. Tech during the war. This is proof, Daniel said. Proof. The war was manipulated. A data core in, The heart of the facility was a data core. It glowed red and gold. Daniel pulled out a drive and plugged it in. Information filled his screen messages. Maps, experiment logs. He read one aloud. Subject number 21. Human DNA successfully bonded with Zern tissue. Results unstable. Test failed. Begin new trials. Nerea's hand shook. They were using both of us, she whispered. They used humans and Velexari for experiments. To make weapons. They looked at each other. The war was not just a war. It had been a test field for the Zern. And they were still out there. Ambushed suddenly, the ground shook. The outside team called in. Movement. We've got incoming ships and marked. DeBoer. Daniel could reply. The ceiling above them cracked. Plasma blast hit the wall beside them. Smoke filled the air. Figures in black armor dropped down Cern warriors. Take cover, Daniel shouted. He fired. Nerea pulled him behind a console and returned fire with her energy pistol. The enemies were fast slipping through the smoke like shadows. More explosions. The entrance was blocked. The Velexari guards outside were cut off. One of the human soldiers was hit, gone in a flash of light. Nerea's leg was grazed. Daniel pulled her to safety. We're not getting out through the front, he said. There must be another exit. She replied, breathing hard. They ran through a narrow hallway, chased by plasma fire. Betrayal as they reached the lower tunnels. One of the Velexari soldiers, Selrun, suddenly raised his weapon at Daniel. Nerea shouted, What are you doing? Zelrun's eyes were cold. Peace is weakness. I warned them not to trust you. He fired. Daniel barely dodged. The shot grazed his shoulder. He dropped to the floor. Nerea stepped between them. You would kill a human to protect a lie? No, Zelrun said. I would kill him to protect my world. He aimed again, but before he could shoot, the other Velexari guard leader tackled him from behind and slammed his head into the wall. He's not the enemy, she said. You are. Zelrun collapsed, unconscious. Nerea dropped to her, knees beside Daniel. Blood soaked his arm. I'm okay, he grunted. Just a scratch. She tore her sleeve and tied it around his wound. Don't you dare die on me now, she said. He smiled weakly, not planning to. Escaped, they finally reached an old tunnel that led to the surface. They climbed through rocks and rusted pipes until they broke into sunlight. Zern ships circled above. Scanning the area, Nerea signaled for pickup. The Peace Force had sent a cruiser. It was approaching fast. When the dropship landed, Daniel and Nerea were pulled inside. The surviving team members followed. The door closed. The engines roared. They escaped just in time. Daniel sat back, breathing hard. Nerea sat beside him. Holding his hand, they looked out the window as the broken moon grew smaller behind them. The truth revealed back at Peace Force Command. They uploaded the data. The files showed clear evidence. The Zern had caused the war. They had sent false messages, hacked signals, not even disguised their own ships to attack both sides. They had wanted one thing, to keep the galaxy divided. But now, the truth was out. Queen Cerelia and Earth's president watched the footage in silence. When it ended, Cerelia said we were played like pawns. Daniel stood up. His arm was bandaged. They're still out there, he said. Still planning something, Nerea added. We need to stop them together. The mission begins, the two leaders agreed. A special task force was formed. Humans and Velexari united. Nerea and Daniel were chosen to lead it. Their mission, to find the Zern's main base and shut it down. Before they left, Cerelia hugged her sister. Come back safe, she said. Nerea smiled. Always do. Daniel met Max on a video call before launch. You're becoming a hero, Max said. I'm just doing what's right, Daniel replied. Then he looked at Nerea, and I'm not doing it alone. The road ahead as the ship flew into deep space. Daniel and Nerea stood side by side, looking at the stars. We started as enemies, Daniel said. Nerea nodded. Now we lead an army together. Strange world, he said. Stranger hearts, she replied. They both smiled. War had tried to destroy them, But love and truth had given them a new purpose, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The Peace Force cruiser floated in deep space, silent and ready inside. Soldiers of two worlds moved through the halls, humans in dark blue armor, Velexari in silver. They trained together, ate together, and prepared together. At the center of it all stood two figures: Princess Nerea, proud and calm; Lieutenant Daniel Cross, brave and steady. They had one goal: to end the Zern threat once and for all. A message wore the Peace Force received a strange signal. It came from the edge of a dead system. The voice was distorted, but they could understand. The warning: we see you, we hear you, peace is a lie, your blood will color the stars. The signal came from a huge object near a dark planet. It was a Zern command vessel, the size of a small moon. It had weapons strong enough to destroy whole cities. Daniel stared at the map. That's their base, he said. That's where the war truly ends. Nerea nodded. Then we go there. We finish this. The final fleet, Earth and the Velexari Empire, gathered their fleets. Warships from both sides formed one grand armada. It was the first time human and alien ships flew in one formation. Nerea and Daniel stood on the bridge of the flagship, Unity's Flame. They looked at the screen. The Zern ship was massive, dark, and full of energy spikes. They won't let us get close, said Commander Lise of Velexari. Daniel smiled slightly. Then we get clever. The battle begins. The fleets moved forward. Zern warships came out of hiding, black like shadows, with glowing blue cores. They attacked fast and without mercy. Explosions lit up space. Human and Velexari fighters flew together, dodging fire, protecting each other. A human pilot saved a Velexari cruiser from a plasma torpedo. A Velexari gunner shielded human marines. During a boarding mission, Nerea gave orders with sharp precision. Daniel led the strike teams from the front. Missiles roared. Beams burned. Ships were torn apart. The Peace Force kept fighting, together. Inside the enemy ship, Daniel's team broke into the Zern command ship through a vent tunnel. The halls inside were dark, cold, and alive with humming energy. Zern soldiers attacked them, tall, fast, with razor-like claws. But Daniel's team pushed forward, room by room. Behind him, Velexari and human marines covered each other's backs. They reached the core room, a black sphere glowing with red light. A giant Zern leader stood there, taller than any they had seen. His voice echoed in their minds. You are too late. The galaxy belongs to us. Daniel raised his rifle. No, not anymore. The sacrifice. The Zern leader released a shockwave. Soldiers were thrown across the room. The core began to overload. It's going to explode, shouted Lyra. One of the Velexari guards. We need to stop it, said Daniel. But the only way was to destroy the core manually from the inside. Daniel stepped forward. I'll do it, Araya said. She had followed him into the ship. Against orders, he turned to her. It's the only way. She shook her head. I won't lose you again. Their eyes locked. Then Lyra stepped forward. Let me do it, she said. You two are symbols. The galaxy needs you. Daniel touched her shoulder. No one has to die today. Looked at the core, then at the wires around it. Suddenly an idea came. Wait, we can reroute the overload. Dump the energy into the E. Fuel line. It'll burn out the core without blowing the ship. Nerea moved fast. Tell me what to do. Together, they worked. Time ran short. Smoke filled the room. The last wires sparked, then went silent. The core dimmed. The ship was dead. And they were still alive. The end of the Zern with their command ship destroyed. The Zern fleet panicked. Many retreated. Without their central mind, they were lost. The Peace Force moved quickly, capturing ships, saving prisoners, and cleaning up the battlefield. The war was over. This time, it's truly over. Heroes returned to station, Aspera, crowds gathered to welcome them. Humans and Velexari stood side by side, cheering as the two heroes walked down the grand ramp. Hand in hand, Queen Sorelia hugged her sister tightly. Earth's president shook Daniel's hand. You did something impossible, he said. You gave us a future. A new era. Months passed. The Peace Force became stronger. More young humans and Velexari joined. Together, they trained as one army. For one galaxy, Nerea and Daniel helped open a new academy, a place where both species learned not just how to fight, but how to understand each other. Students from Earth and Velexar read history, studied languages, and shared meals for the first time. Children who were once taught to hate were now taught to trust. The last walk. One evening, Daniel and Nerea walked in the royal sky garden of Velexar. The crystals above them glowed softly. They stopped. Near the silver lake. Do you ever think about the moon? Daniel asked. Nerea nodded. Every day, that place broke us and built us. He looked at her. Would you change it? She smiled. It's not for anything. He took her hand. What do we do now? He asked. We live, she said. We protect what we made. Closing Sinin, a classroom far away, a young human girl raised her hand. Teacher, she asked, is it true? The human and a princess ended the war? The teacher smiled. Yes. And they didn't just end a war. They started peace. Outside. The window. 2 flags flew in the wind, Earth's and Velexoris. And above them, stars shined bright over a galaxy forever changed.